Hello, one and all. This is Nerdcraft here, bringing you a 1v1 on the Shattered Temples here, spawning in the lower left-hand, no, the Shurikura's Plateau, not the Shattered Temples. Something about Shurikura's Plateau and Shattered Temples being mixed up doesn't exactly seem right to me. Shurikura's is a little darker and lacks grass. But anyway, here, spawning on the lower left-hand corner of the Shurikura's Plateau, see, you got it right that time, is our blue Protoss player, RGNInori. For those of you who don't know, Inori is formerly of FXO. He's a Korean Protoss player. He's very strong macro. He's very notable for his PvP. But who is he playing? Well, spawning on the upper right-hand corner of the Shurikura's Plateau, God, I'm tripping over myself already. Cross positions is our green Zerg player, GoSuViBE, who is very notable for his extremely high APM. Before like the APM nerf patch went through, he would average around 400 APM. This guy's got really quick fingers, and he's known for just practicing a lot on the ladder as well. He's a very heavy ladder practicer. It's a lot like Rhett. And so, what are we going to have here in this PvZ? Who knows? It is cross positions on Shurikura's Plateau, so that means it can go either way, whether it be long or short, medium size. We will find out. As we can see here, GoSuViBE looks like he is going to go for a 15 hatchery. I would expect nothing else from him, actually. Most Zerg players just go for a 15 hatch. It's pretty standard nowadays. I just remember back in the day, when StarCraft 2 was still being spliced out into what it is. Well, it still is, but more as the builds weren't exactly 100% known. People weren't really sure how to fully utilize certain races, and so whenever you saw a 15 hatch before pool, you'd just be like, whoa, holy crap, that was quick. And of course we see here Inori is going for a Forge Fast Expo. Nexus first into Gateway, actually, very interesting. And it looks like he's just keeping that probe around. He's just trying to make sure that, he's trying to scare Vibe into thinking that I'm going to put a cannon down, because that's a really good way to deny this expansion. And as you can see, the pylon is going down in a very clever place. Actually, it kind of blocked the drone from getting to the probe. And now the probe is going to go attack the drone. Here we go. We got some worker on worker action right now. Keep in mind that the Forge is now on its way. So Inori is actually playing a little mind trick on Vibe. He's not actually going to build a cannon. He's just trying to make sure that Vibe, he's forcing to pull drones. He's forced to make lings, things like that. As you see, it's working. Vibe has 4 drones out. Well, these 2 are now mining. So this is actually really crazy. You could just imagine the micro going on right now. And here the Nexus is just about to finish. The gateway is up. So I'm going to guess that Inori is going to put down a cannon, then get his Cyber Core up, and just wait to get a sentry, so that way he's not vulnerable to Roachling all-ins. Roachling all-in is kind of how you deal with it's one of the ways to deal with the Forge Fast Expo, because they just one cannon versus a bunch of roaches. Like the 7 roach rush, a bunch of one cannon versus 7 roaches, not exactly going to favor the cannon. So that's why you always get that sentry first, especially on the smaller ramps. As you see here, the Cyber Core going down, and still no army out for Inori. So yeah, so as you can see, he is going to wait for that sentry. Those lings were just about to go, but I'm sure Vibe knew that. Yep, he knew what was going on. And we can see the Overlord here coming in for the scout. The cannon is not going to be in range, and now the Queen is just slowly hacking away at that pylon. And creep is starting to get spread. He's going to connect his creep, which is always a great idea. I don't understand players that don't connect their creep, because if there's like a Phoenix Void Ray push or a Banshee push, and it's taking out your expansion, and it just makes sense to be able to have the creep spread connect the hatcheries, so that way you can get your second queen or third queen to your base right away. And see this queen, she has a kill. She took down a pylon. She is proud. She's like, yeah, I'm a queen for the swarm, man. I took out a freaking pylon with my stupid little talons that only have 6 damage. And we can see Vibe going for a quick third. This is kind of how you reply to that Forge Fast Expo as well, aside from that Roach all-in, is that you get a third right away. That way you can just make sure you're always ahead of that Protoss player. You always want to be, as a Zerg player, you usually want to always be one base ahead of everything. But Nori, being the awesome player that he is going to scout it with a Zealot, not going to attack it. He's just going to try and make sure that that Zealot stays alive and doesn't die off, because this is going to be really good scouting information. We can see that this probe here is going to put a pylon right over here so he can warp in from the high ground and take that hatchery out. But I think this Overlord is going to scout it. I would not be surprised. This Overlord getting another big scout, and Inori, he sees there's not much. And then we have 4 gateways, so it looks like GoSuViBE might be going for a 2-base 6-gate all in. The pylon is going down over here. There are plenty of lings though, so it's not gonna be it's not going to work at all. I just realized that I just said GoSuViBE is doing a 6-gate, a 2-base 6-gate all in, but no, this is Inori that's doing it. GoSuViBE, he's on 3 bases. Bunch of spine crawlers coming down here for GoSuViBE as well, and a spore crawler. So I think GoSuViBE might be feeling that the Dark Templars might be a utilization for Inori, and as we can see here, he does see that there's only 2 gas, and now he's seeing the Twilight Council going down. This is kind of a weird place for Inori to put it. He knows that that Overlord is there, so why put it so that the Overlord can see it? I don't know if this is, again, with those mind tricks, because StarCraft 2, unlike Brood War, there's a lot more mental process that goes through it. That sounds bad, like I'm dissing like Flash and Jaedong and everything, but no. What I mean by that is that since the mechanics of this game are a lot more smoother than in Brood War, it's a lot easier to play in the sense that you can micro units better, and as a result we see players go for a more of a mental type game. They try to fake out players and everything, and this Nexus is going up, but it might just go down to these lings. Don't know if it's going to get canceled. There are 3 sentries and 6 zealots out. That probe is just standing around like, I don't want to die. And they're going to go, the lings are going to try to go for a run by, but Inori, being the great player he is, oh man, that is just very unfortunate for GoSuViBE. Trying to get the run by, he tries to get out, and the sentries force field them into the cannon and zealots. Oh man, you know that saying, stuck between a rock and a hard place? Well, those lings were stuck between a pylon and a zealot, or a force field and a zealot. That's not a good place to be. As you can see here, the 4th going down for GoSuViBE and a macro hatch. So GoSuViBE is really, he's just stepping it up a lot when it comes to his macro right now, and I'm surprised this Overlord was in there as long as he did. Blink is being researched. I don't know if GoSuViBE was able to see that the Twilight Council pillars, for those who don't know, these little pillars right here, they kind of like float higher than they normally float when you're researching, so this kind of give it away if you're really paying that much attention to the buildings. So I don't know if GoSuViBE does know that Blink is coming up, but he sees Stalkers and he saw the Twilight Council, so he's probably going to be thinking, yeah, Blink is coming. You don't get a Twilight Council, then make Stalkers. No, you make a Twilight Council. No, you don't make a Twilight Council, then get Stalkers if you're not going Blink Stalker. You make a Twilight Council, make Stalkers if you're going to go Blink Stalker. So the 3rd is now established for Inori, and level 1 melee coming up here for our Zerg player. And what I like too is that Ventral Sax is being researched. Pneumatized Carapace is not yet, but I feel that if you use normal Overlord drops, try to drop with this thing, going its massive 0.47 speed, I don't think that would work. But he is going to get Pneumatized Carapace. How do I know this? Because the Baneling Nest is just about to finish, so he's going to be using Carpet Bomb tactics, which are very good against a Blink-centric army that consists of a lot of Stalkers, I mean to say. And of course there's a lot of Zealots in here too, and Zealots are considered, they are a light bio unit, and Banelings just have fun on light bio units, although they do have quite a bit of health. 150 if you include the shield. And GoSuViBE, he's going very interesting style. I just want to point this out. I haven't really seen this that much. It's a Roach Ling. Now, I know people are going to say that, oh, well, Destiny does that all the time. Destiny pretty much invented that type of style, but it's one thing to have Roach Ling Infestor, but another to just have Roach Ling and relying on upgrades. I cannot really recall GoSuViBE ever having a large utilization of Infestors. I haven't seen much of his games recently, so I can't really say that, oh yeah, he uses Infestors a lot or he doesn't. But the games that I have seen of him, I can never recall him making an Infestor, just an Infestation bit to get Hive if he's going up to Broodlord. And we see the Templar Archives is finished now, and I think an observer, yes, an observer being created right now. Inori just getting a little supply block. You see the Spire and Infestation Pit is coming in. Looks like these roaches are just going to try and do a little poking, try to get Inori nervous. Lings are going to come around for a flank, but the Stalkers do know it's there. Random force fields go off. That Stalker completely surrounded. Oh, so sad. Feel bad for that Stalker. And looks like Vibe might be getting ready for a run by. Oh, the roaches are in the fray as well. The Lings are going to run in, charge in with the roaches right behind, and here come the Baneling carpet bombs for Vibe. Holy crap, taking out the front part of that army and even a pylon to stop one of the cannons, but this is not going good for Vibe at all. The great blink micro there from Inori was able to stop the majority of those carpet bombs from being effective, and looks like Vibe is going to have to run away out of this. Immortal is being added to the mix right now. 23 roaches on their way. The Templar Archives was depowered, so that psionic research is going to take quite a bit, but there's a lot of Stalkers here, and great micro there from Inori. More Baneling carpet bombing going off, and the Overlords are going to try and stick in front of the Stalkers, try to draw fire, but everything here is cleaned up by Inori due to that just supreme Blink Stalker, Blink micro. And as we can see, what is Vibe's reaction to this? He makes 10 drones. What? And more roaches being added here. They're going to try and engage here, and no, it looks like Inori is going to Vibe is going to back off, and Inori is just going to take the tower and, fall back, and I think he might be going for his 4th. I would not be surprised to see that go down at all. He, as Artosis always says, get further ahead. You don't necessarily always have to go for the kill, but just get further ahead, and these roaches are also 2-1 to Vibe's 0-0 roaches, so I'm very surprised that Vibe has not been upgrading his roaches. He has upgraded his Lings to level 1 melee, and pathogen glands are on its way. 9 infestors being made, so I guess that answers my question as to whether he uses infestors or not. 9 infestors is quite a bit, and it might not be his style, but he's using quite a bit of infestors, and Hydrals being added too. So this is kind of a twist on a new twist on an old style. The classic Roach Hydra against Protoss was just devastating until the Protoss figured out that a death ball is a very important thing. As we can see, utilizing the high ground there for a warp in. Vibe had his roaches up here, but now they're down here into this engagement, and they're going to go over here and try to just take this out. The infestors have hatched, so as well as the Hydras, and Inori knows that there's Hydras out. I would not be surprised to see him put down a Robo Bay, but looks like no, he's just going to power it out with High Templar. This is again that I've said this before, and I probably will keep emphasizing it, but this is kind of that new Protoss style. This is that new Protoss style action. Here's the engagement. Fungal Growth's going down. Feedback on the infestors, but they were out of energy anyway, so they did not actually suffer that much, and a lot of those Stalkers go down just to the superior DPS of Hydralisks, and more, Psionic Storm coming down, and more Fungal Growths as well. It's Spellcaster versus Spellcaster in this game. High Templar versus Infestor. And looks like they are both going to disengage, and the Greater Spire is on its way. But like I was saying before that engagement, it's like what I'm saying. I always emphasize this new Protoss style that is very shy of Colossus. Just like, okay, Colossus can be really easily hard countered by Corruptors or Vikings, Void Rays if you really do that build in PvP. So why should I spend that much money for a unit that's very cost effective but also extremely vulnerable? So I'm instead just going to stick to these really hardy units from the gateway and just power it through with High Templar. As you can see here, that Inori is establishing his 4th right here. Very interesting placement for his bases. Usually you'd see this go down first as the 3rd because this one is really wide open to the Zerg, but great wall-offs here from Inori. He's really utilizing these small little channels to make sure that the Zerg army is going only in one way, and that's in only one direction. That's the direction he wants. So yeah, usually in Shakura's Plateau you see this with another like cannon wall or something, and then up here because this is already walled off. But no, instead Inori is going for this wide open one, just making a base right here and pretty much keeping his army there, and then going for this one because those rocks could have used would be a nice wall off as well as a warning sign. And Void Rays coming up for Inori, almost as if he knew the Broodlords are coming. I just wasn't sure what that is. Where are the Broodlords? There are 4 Broodlords right there, and looks like Vibe is getting ready to lay siege to this 4th. I'm surprised of Vibe's creep spread. Of course, it was really good. 3 more Broodlords on the way. Groove Spines on their way as well. Broodling's coming in, took out that Zealot, and now Inori's suspicions have been confirmed. He knows that the Broodlords are on their way, and he's going to respond by taking out Vibe's 5th base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5th base. Really easily by the looks of things. And Blink Stalker versus Broodlord is never really in favor of the Broodlord, but with those Infestors, you can keep them in place, and then the Hydras are just going to destroy them. And huge feedback going off on the Overseers, and well as massive storms going off on the Hydralisk. He needs to save those Hydras. That's what's going to keep him in this game against these Stalkers. Infestitarian going down. Another huge feedback and Sonic Storm. Holy crap. Inori's micro is just insane, but there's more Broodlords over here as well as more Infestors. More Infestitarian going down. Right now, the Broodlords actually did not die. Only one, I do believe, went down. And Vibe is going to win this engagement. I was honestly not expecting him to win. But yeah, like I was saying, though, about his creep spread, I was surprised that he's not really trying to do that again. He's not trying to spread it more because he's using Hydralisk as like his main, is the backbone of his army. And that's a very weak backbone, might I add. And of course, if there's going to be a lot of Broodlords in a PvT match, what's the Protoss player going to do? He is going to call in the mothership. I did not even see the fleet beacon go down, to be honest. It must be somewhere around here. No. There's the fleet beacon. I was just about to say, it's not up here, definitely. By the looks of the Zealot, it looks like Inori is going to get ready to take his 5th, and Vibe is regrouping over here, and he's going straight into Banelings again, and he is going to lay siege to this 4th, but at the same time, Vibe is saying, I'm going to take out your 4th as well, linking up with some Stalkers and a single Void Ray. These Stalkers could be handled by a small contingency of Banelings, Hydras, Infestors, and Zerglings, and pretty much Vibe's entire army. So that wasn't really a small contingency. And now Vibe is going to know he's going to need to get Corruptors out if he wants to, because the Hydras are great, but he's going to need the Hydras at the Stalkers and not the Void Rays. So the Void Ray does fall, and this 4th again being sieged up by the Broodlords. Cannon goes down, and soon this gateway will. No, he's actually focusing the cannons. Very great. A very great control there from Vibe. I'm just ever impressed whenever I see this guy. I'm just going to see the Warp Prism going down over here. Cancel the warping of a Zealot, and Hydralisks versus Stalkers. Never usually in favor of the Stalkers, but as we can see with these superior upgrades on them, on these Stalkers, they're able to really kind of start taking out the Hydras, but eventually do fall to just superior numbers, and this Warp Prism being chased down by the Corruptors, and Inori going in for the throat. He's going to try and take out that tech, that very vastly superior tech. I'll be honest, I've never seen a PvZ game like this. I've seen PvZ games similar with less Hydras, but when Hydras are like the main backbone of the army, this is insane. And of course, the second Spire being added for just further upgrades for the Corruptors. I wouldn't be surprised if this army falls to see a huge tech switch straight into Mutalisks to really start taking out all of those probes, which Inori has very few of. And here, the last end of Inori right in this corner, trying to blink up, but there is some creep up there, so he does have vision as well as the Corruptors. What am I thinking? I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, he has vision for blink. What am I thinking? Zerg doesn't have blink. That would, oh my god, could you imagine Hydras with blink? That'd be so scary. Or like Hydras with charge and Roaches with blink. Oh my god, that would be the scariest army composition ever. Blink Roaches with charge Hydras and Broodlords. And of course, this Observer, he's just going along with the Broodlords. He's like, shh, I'm among them. He's a documentary. He's like an animal documentary director, documentarian or something like that. I'm not really sure what you call a person who makes a documentary, but he's just like, here in the natural habitat of the Broodlord, we can see they are flying in flocks to maintain family bonds and also throwing their offspring at gateways. Because that's what Broodlords do, essentially. They throw their offspring at things. Man, I'd hate to grow up in a Broodlord family. It's like, but Daddy, I don't want to be thrown at a gateway. I want to live. Son, I'm disappointed in you. Man, that'd be funny. So as we see, the mothership has come, and Vibe is well aware of it. He does have 4 Archons, which would be enough to take out a majority of these Broodlords. The Vortex does go down, but the Archons are not in it. They are taking out these Corruptors, And Inori needs to really get his Archons inside of that. The mothership does go down. I think the Archons went down too before they could have gotten it. And there it is. No damage done to those. That's the first time you'll see an Archon toilet do absolutely nothing to Broodlords, mainly because the Broodlords were killed. And Inori, GG's. Holy crap. This was the perfect game, I believe, to pick for my 100th video. Yes, that's right. This is the 100th video, guys. I was going to mention it in the beginning, but then I forgot, and then midway through the game, I'm just like, oh, it's my 100th. That's right. Well, it kind of seems stupid to mention that now. So, yeah, great game there from Inori and Vibe. I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as I enjoyed casting. I sure did enjoy casting this. Man, that sounded so cheesy. I sure did enjoy casting this game, pa. I'm weird at times. Sometimes I'm not sure. So again, if you like this game, these are the kind of games I strive to find. These are just great, awesome games. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more StarCraft 2 content like this. Also, if you feel obligated to, I don't know why you'd feel obligated to, but you can also follow me on Twitter at nerd_craft. You just get updates about pretty much when I'm going to be casting, what I'm going to be uploading, as well as when I go live when I stream, which is mainly on weekends. So I know I'm going to be streaming after I get done casting the videos that I have set for myself today. But anyway, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this game. It was a great game, and happy 100th me. My name's Nerdcraft. That's it. I'm out.